Hello all, Rick here, looking into the more monstrous creatures from the Star Trek universe, this time visiting the quarantined world of Vagra II and its single occupant, the vile Armus. This being has already proved to be both malevolent and lethal, but technically this isn't its fault. It's not a choice, it just is evil. Literally. It dwells in the Z Lapis sector of the Alpha Quadrant. Despite there being a spaceport in this sector, many of its systems are overlooked, probably because there's not much of interest to draw Federation attention. However, the Vagra system was once home to an interstellar power that has long since abandoned its planet. Due to a shuttle crash, the danger of this system was revealed in 2364, when, passing close to the second planet of the system, the shuttle seemingly malfunctioned and was pulled down. The planet itself has a barely habitable atmosphere for humans and little flora with no fauna, making it probably a Class H world, which is a terrestrial world with an oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere but no other requirements for life to flourish, or maybe a Class L. The native species had departed an unknown amount of time ago, but it must have been at least centuries to have never been observed by any of the species that make up the Federation. We can assume this from the lack of information on the system in the UFP libraries, but the complete lack of apparent structures on Vagra II suggests it could even have been longer. Civilizations leave a trace, so it must have been millennia for it all to fade to dust. They were described as a race of titans, however this is not even revealed to be in relation to their size. It could be in reference to their level of achievement or something. Either way, they developed a way to literally detoxify themselves of negativity, purging undesirable emotions and destructive drive. How and why, again, have been lost to time, but this process literally pulled a viscous black liquid from within their bodies, which they removed. However, this collective pool of negativity developed a consciousness of its own, and the Titans of Vagra fled their world as more enlightened and beautiful creatures, casting the remnants to their planet's surface. This detritus was completely beholden to the emotions and thoughts that had formed its being. Anger, resentfulness, spite, hatred, and so on. As such, it was fueled by a ceaseless anger about being abandoned, while its creators left for their new lives. I suspect that the complete desolation of the planet may have even been at the hands of this being, now calling itself Armus. It seems very in character for such a being to lash out and destroy the triumphs of the society that made it, until all that remained was ashen dust. The being itself had no discernible cellular structure, no blood, nor organs, no nervous system, nor any apparent way to move or communicate. Yet it lived, reacted, emitted audible noise, and even learned to talk. It was therefore sentient, in a way. Its appearance as a thick black ooze allowed it to shape itself into a variety of forms, but it existed as a pool for most of its time. It was aware of its surroundings in any form, and was able to discern the nature of individuals approaching and technology from organic matter, despite it lacking sensory organs. With the passage of time, Armus's rage, while not diminishing, for it could not, became at the very least focused and controlled, and its intellect returned. It soon discovered that it could exert an energy field around itself, and over time tested its abilities, learning that it could reach out at least as far as the orbit of its prison world. This is what caused the shuttle crash of Shuttlepod 13 and the subsequent rescue operation. Within the confines of its energy field domain, it had extensive power, including the ability to telekinetically throw people, teleport them around, and fire lethal energy blasts. These energy bolts destroyed the synapses, causing instant death on the target. On top of this, the force field it generated acted as a disruption to most Federation technologies, effectively a potent dampening field against transporters, scanners, and communications. Weapons still worked in its presence, however, that does little good. Firing upon Armus achieved nothing, even on full power, as it seemingly fed on the energy of Federation hand phasers. There's no explanation as to how it does this, but the idea that it feeds off of aggressive actions is thematically on point with its nature. All of its abilities seem to focus around the manipulation of energy, from the synaptic charge of a nervous system to the power of a shuttle and the absorption of an energized Nadian stream from a phaser. It also showed the ability to envelop humans into its being, even in its liquid state, and absorb knowledge from them. While the victim was within its grasp, Armus could inflict insufferable pain and harm on them. More than this though, its spiteful nature ensured it enjoyed harming others, even killing Lieutenant Tasha Yar just to prove it really was a dick. On top of this, it seems to be immortal, having a form that defied scientific understanding and judging by the ancient departure of its creators. In terms of weaknesses, it is not omniscient, even within its own domain, and therefore fallible. It was able to be distracted and was easily incited to rage, which led to a decrease in the scrambling effect of the energy field. This suggests that maintenance of the field required its concentration. Also, on a more conceptual level, it displayed a lack of understanding of more moral and good actions, and therefore was unable to predict actions motivated by compassion. Ultimately, Armus wanted to escape the confines of the planet and find its creators to exact revenge, as well as inflict a great deal of suffering along the way in an attempt to appease its incomplete nature. As a result of the danger it poses and the deaths it caused, Vagra II was placed under Federation quarantine to all, with not even science teams allowed down to study the creature. It was deemed that the risk of it becoming spaceborne through the acquisition of any interstellar craft is too great, alongside its inclination to do harm to others. Armus is undoubtedly one of the evilest creatures ever encountered in Star Trek, being formed of the worst aspects of an ancient species. But as I mentioned in the introduction, is it really its fault? It is born from the suffering of an entire species' negativity, and all that is all it has known, and all it ever will. It is literally an evil incarnate, and therefore beyond any form of redemption. Thanks for watching the Trek Bestiary on the skin of evil, Armus. There are some other creatures out there that I am going to take a look at, not all of them hostile, such as the Horta, and some, like the Seti Eel, are simply creatures, even though they do have some nasty effects. So, until then, thanks for watching this lore video, and until the next. Thanks again, I've been Rick, and goodbye.